if you know that you can't be a stepfather, don't be one.
It
Or
wasn't. It
or in a
wasn't
situation where you don't
necessarily
mind being
about
a
being
stepfather.
a stepfather.
Culturally, this is also very known in my culture. If a woman is divorced or maybe a widower or whatever, and you're going to take like literally be courted by another man for marriage, you actually leave your kids with your parents and or aunt, whoever will take them to go start a family with that man. Yes, you see your kids, you do all of that, but nobody ever expect if the children have a father that's out there living, you do not bring those kids into another man's household because that father has to have dominion over his children. The world over understands this. You
But
don't
you know what?
clash with other men
So
and their children.
real
You don't
fast,
do that.
let me just say this real fast. I get what you're saying because I was once taught that if you're not married, those kids take your last name and they become the kids of the man of that household. That's what I that's how when I was younger, that's how it went. Okay. You know, you sent the woman off because she had a kid, you brought her back, she got married, and this now is his. Whoever that father was, he's now gone. You got rid of him.
Yeah, women made that rule.
Well, I don't know who
Men
made
men
the rule.
didn't make
It's
it.
an old rule.
Yeah, so I hear what you're saying, Shannon. I've heard that too, but across the globe and history, what Trigger Mike is talking about has been way more predominant. But I wanted to say this, right? I think when it comes to like love and romance, we talk about how women fall into Disney. I think when it comes to like the sphere of influence, men kind of live in a little bit of delusion, a little bit, right? Yes, under your household, in your home, you maintain control, right? But I think this idea that there isn't ever going to be another man that has influence over your child is a little bit naive, right? Especially because most men want their sons to play sports because we pretend like teachers are not, don't have influence. We pretend like there aren't other adults in certain hobbies that have influence over your child. As long as they have a certain level of influence over that child and that child is buying into that influence, it's going to seep into your home. Now, can you manage it when it's in the household? Absolutely. But to think that like a co-parenting situation could possibly be that much different than a coach, not really, if we're honest. A coach has a huge amount of influence, especially on young boys, right? Maybe even more so than a father, whether he's present or not. Forget the
Mhm.
stepfather, right? Like, and if you are that father, there is still that understanding where that coach may have more influence over your child than you do. So I think that like when we're having these conversations, we need to be a little bit more specific because like I'm gonna say for me as a woman, the way I hear it, and it could just be the way I'm hearing it, I will acknowledge that it does sound a little bit delusional.
So what I'm gonna say, I hope no man is actually means that no other man will have influence like a coach or anything like that. That is too extreme. But what I do think most men are suffering from today, and I'm talking about not my own personal experience, but experience of friends, frat brothers, and all of that. What I think the major occurrence is that women will use whatever man is living with them to make unilateral decisions for the child absent of that child's biological father. And they do it to dig at him, to cut at him, to hurt his feelings because there's now a man in the house and he pays the bills. That is what most men are going through. You already know that that dude is going to talk to your children. You can't do nothing. He's going to take them to school, especially if he's the type of stepfather or whatever that makes an effort and puts his time and energy and his resources into caring for them. There's nothing you can do. But when you make unilateral decisions about that child's future, what sports they're going to play, where they're going to play them with that man and not the biological father, you got a freaking problem every time.
And all right, so let me just clarify this. If the coach want my child to play AAU, and I say he not playing AAU, he not playing AAU. Like so, the coach
Right.
can give them tutelage, right? Nobody's against that as far as in that specific manner. But if it's a direction I want my child to go in, and the coach and I see a difference of opinion, the child won't play that sport or they'll transfer schools. I absolutely will have more control over that than that coach. So when it come to, like, I could put that child on punishment, the coach can't put my child on punishment within my house. We talking about things like structurally that you want to see the direction of your child going, right? And I can't have enough, like, so. And let's stepfather situation. Say the stepfather wanted my child to play AAU, and I'm saying he can't play AAU. He's not playing AAU. Like it. Plus, I got to sign off on that stuff. The guardian has to sign off. They had to sign off us to go in the leagues. The person that is the guardian, you have to sign off on that.
Right. So, and I get what you're saying, but again, what you're asking for is so what you want is two parents to come together and say, hey, you know, if there's this agreement, there's always one person who has more say than the other parent when it comes to custody, unless you guys have, you know, joint custody. But in that situation, you always want to listen to the other parent and say, you know what, reasonable. If he doesn't want it, I'll take his advice, right? But when you're talking about another man being in a household and he is the man of the house, guess what? When your kid is with that man in his household, that's why you have custody. You, just like that woman can't control what you do with the kid. She may try. You can't control what she does with the kid. You can try all you want to. It just doesn't work that way. You can do it.
I don't think it's about control. I think that word is being moved around too loosely. What it is more specifically, and this is not even supposed to be really an argument, right? Most people should know that. Oh, you know what? No, that's a major decision. Let me call his father. I don't want to upset him. I don't want to make him think we're making unilateral decisions about this child's life and or future without him. Because the funniest thing is that that's what women should do by default. Because the one thing you'll notice from women in general, y'all don't like to take blame for anything. So if you make a unilateral decision for a child without his father and that blows up in your face numerous times in a row, then you'll regret it. So, that's really what's supposed to happen. Be like, nah, I can't. Let me call your dad, see how he feels. And if it's a no, we can't do it. Most women don't want. That's probably one of the biggest downfalls of single motherhood is that the woman sometimes even acquiesces to just what the child wants. Because it might be a no if you ask daddy, right?
But we're not talking about, listen, we're not talking about that. We're talking about a woman who has a man, who has a husband now. Okay. Mm-hmm. We're not talking about the single mother.
That doesn't make that child his child.
Right. It doesn't. Right. But what I'm saying
to you is,
give me a second, Kay. Because you can't in one argument say men don't want to be stepdads because you don't give them power. Mm-hmm. And then in the other arguments say they shouldn't have power. You understand? So
it's not about power.
So what I'm saying,
it's about respect. It's about respect.
Absolutely. So we will pray. Like, I agree with you. In an ideal situation, there should be respect. You should call the father, but we know that these are not ideal situations out there. People don't live like me. People don't live like you. Okay. So when you have a situation like that, it is unfortunate that in most situations like that, not all, most situations like that, you have to understand that when you are not the man of the house and another man is, the court is going to look at it as when the kid is with you, you are making decisions for the kid. When the kid is with her, she is making decisions for the kid. That's just how they do. Just because I've seen people say, oh, I don't want the kid to go out of town. Can you put it in a little thing? They're written. And he's like, no, when the kid is with him, as long as the kid is not being under any harm, there's nothing going on with the kid, that's his right for the kid, and vice versa.